In this video, we're diving into how deep focus can transform the way you learn, think, and solve problems. If you've ever struggled with distractions, felt like traditional education isn't helping you reach your full potential, or wondered how top thinkers, entrepreneurs, and innovators train their minds, this is for you. We'll explore powerful learning techniques that can rewire your brain for better retention and problem solving. You'll discover why deep focus is the ultimate competitive advantage, how Jewish gifted education principles shape some of the world's most successful minds, and how understanding mortality can push you to learn faster and think deeper. Whether you're a student, entrepreneur, or business professional, mastering deep focus will give you the edge you need to outperform in both academics and the workplace. Stay tuned. This might just change the way you approach learning forever. Part 4. Deep Focus and Learning. 1. Effective learning methods for enhancing thinking skills. The author recalls a pivotal moment in middle school when an older brother, who often emphasized the importance of deep thinking, introduced the concept of problem banks, repositories where experts create and sell high-quality math problems to schools, and test preparation centers. The realization that each problem was carefully crafted and held significant value completely transformed the author's approach to learning. Instead of viewing math problems as mere exercises, the author began seeing them as intellectual challenges, akin to valuable assets. If a problem was solved independently, its full worth was retained. However, checking the solution prematurely meant losing that value, a perspective that created a strong motivation to resist the urge to look at answers. This shift led to the development of a no-solution approach, where problems were tackled for at least 5 to 10 minutes before even considering external help. Over time, struggling with complex problems for hours or even days became a habit. The process evolved into a mental game, reinforcing persistence and deep focus. 1. The power of long-term thinking in problem solving. Difficult problems require patience and a long-term mindset. Rather than feeling frustrated when an answer doesn't come easily, maintaining a sense of calm and allowing time for ideas to develop becomes critical. When problem solving is approached without time pressure, the brain remains engaged, increasing the likelihood of a breakthrough. The author notes that researchers and scientists often highlight how struggling with complex issues sharpens intellect and fosters creative solutions. For students, adopting this mindset early on provides a significant advantage in future academic and professional pursuits. Through repeated exposure to difficult, unfamiliar problems, the brain is pushed to operate at its highest capacity, gradually enhancing logical reasoning, pattern recognition, and deep thinking. Conversely, those who rely on pre-learned solutions fail to develop independent problem-solving skills, ultimately limiting their cognitive growth. 2. Building thought power through strategic problem selection. Not all difficult problems contribute equally to cognitive development. Some are intentionally designed to be overly complicated, requiring excessive trial and error rather than structured reasoning. To maximize deep focus and effective problem solving, the author adopted a strategic approach. Instead of studying a topic first and then solving related problems, the author attempted problems from an upcoming lesson before formally learning the material. This method forced the brain to think like a mathematician, discovering concepts through reasoning rather than memorization. This approach aligns with the educational philosophy of John Dewey, who argued that actively engaging with problems before structured learning enhances motivation and comprehension. Through this method, the author not only strengthened confidence in handling complex challenges, but also deepened conceptual understanding long before encountering formal explanations. 2. What are creativity and creative effort? Creativity is often highlighted as essential in modern education, yet there is little practical guidance on how to develop it. Creativity is the ability to generate new and valuable ideas. But originality alone is not enough. It must also serve a purpose. One common misconception is that creativity is solely measured by successful outcomes. However, creative effort should not be judged only by results, but by the process of striving to solve a problem despite uncertainty. Einstein described his creative process as failing 99 times before achieving success on the 100th attempt. It would be a mistake to consider only the final success as creative while dismissing the previous efforts as meaningless. True creativity lies in the willingness to engage deeply with challenging problems, even without immediate success. When individuals push beyond their current abilities, struggling with difficult problems, they activate higher levels of cognitive function. This effort itself develops creativity by forcing the mind to make new connections and explore alternative solutions. Conversely, solving problems that require little thought or reveal their solutions too easily does not contribute to creative growth. If learning focuses only on known solutions, students may believe they lack the ability to solve unfamiliar problems. This mindset limits their potential and prevents the development of true innovation. To foster creativity, education must value the process of effort itself rather than just rewarding correct answers. When individuals are encouraged to tackle complex, unsolved problems, even if they fail multiple times, they develop the persistence and problem-solving skills necessary for true breakthroughs. 3. Does deep focus really improve academic performance? Deep focus is more critical to academic success than raw intelligence. It accelerates learning, enhances comprehension, and boosts efficiency in both study and work. Students often enter deep focus during exam periods, driven by stress and urgency. However, before reaching this state, they may struggle with distractions and anxiety, making studying feel exhausting. Once fully engaged, studying becomes enjoyable and resistance disappears. Deep focus also influences overall engagement. Even mundane activities feel more interesting when concentration is high. Conversely, during low-focus states, such as school breaks, people experience boredom, seek high-stimulation entertainment, and struggle with motivation. 1. The impact of deep focus on learning. Deep focus significantly enhances comprehension, retention, and learning speed. It helps integrate new insights with existing knowledge, forming deeper connections and improving problem-solving skills. Many breakthroughs occur when the mind processes information beyond what is explicitly stated in textbooks. 2. Training thinking skills for beginners. Beginners should start with simpler problems to avoid frustration. Instead of solving problems passively, they should read and understand the problem, then close the book. Mentally plan a solution before writing. If necessary, briefly check the problem but rely on internal problem solving. This approach strengthens cognitive endurance and analytical thinking, making deeper focus more natural over time. 4. Awakening genius through the power of thinking. 1. Persistence and discipline in mathematical geniuses. History shows that great scientists and mathematicians develop their abilities not solely through talent, but through relentless effort and deep thinking. For example, Isaac Newton struggled with mathematics in his early years. Instead of seeking immediate help, he reread and analyzed difficult texts multiple times, gradually mastering concepts through self-discipline. The ability to sustain deep thought for extended periods is what differentiates genius from the ordinary mind. A person who can focus on a problem for 1 minute will only solve problems that require a minute's worth of thinking. A person who can think for an hour can solve problems 60 times more complex, while someone who sustains focus for 10 hours can solve challenges 600 times harder. By training the mind to engage in deep, prolonged thinking, individuals expand their problem-solving abilities exponentially. 2. Lazlo Ratz. a pioneer in gifted education. Hungarian mathematics teacher Lazlo Ratz trained some of the world's greatest scientific minds, including Eugene Wigner, John von Neumann, and Edward Teller. His approach emphasized challenging students with problems that required deep thinking over extended periods. Ratz published difficult math problems in a school journal, requiring students to struggle with solutions for weeks. This method cultivated persistence, critical thinking, and intellectual independence, preparing his students for groundbreaking contributions to science. Even Paul Erdos, a legendary mathematician, engaged with these problems, highlighting Ratz's profound influence on mathematical education. 3. The teacher behind Nobel Prize-winning physicists. Mr. Bader, a high school physics teacher, inspired Richard Feynman and Julian Schwinger, both of whom later won the Nobel Prize in physics. Bader didn't focus on memorization, but challenged students with thought-provoking problems that required deep analysis. He introduced Feynman and Schwinger to the principle of least action, a complex physics concept, while they were still in high school. This problem fascinated them for years and shaped their future discoveries in quantum mechanics. The development of genius thinking is not about memorizing information, but about sustained deep thought and problem solving. The most influential scientists excelled not just due to high intelligence, but because they persisted through complex problems and pushed their cognitive limits. By fostering critical thinking, creativity, and resilience, education can transform individuals into problem solvers and innovators, unlocking their full intellectual potential. 5. Jewish gifted education and the practice of deep thinking. 1. Jewish dominance in Nobel Prizes. Despite having a small global population of around 14 million, Jews have had an outsized impact on science, economics, and academia. Between 1901 and 2006, 173 Jewish individuals won Nobel Prizes, making up 23% of all laureates, particularly in fields like physics, chemistry, medicine, and economics. Beyond Nobel Prizes, Jews hold prominent positions in top universities, finance, and politics, with 20% of Ivy League professors and U.S. billionaires being Jewish. Influential figures like Alan Greenspan, Robert Rubin, Sergey Brin, and Madeleine Albright exemplify this success. This extraordinary intellectual dominance suggests that Jewish education itself functions as a form of gifted education, emphasizing deep thinking, rigorous learning, and critical analysis. 2. 7 key features of Jewish education. Jewish education is deeply rooted in intellectual rigor and structured learning, developed over centuries by wise rabbis. This systematic and standardized approach to learning sets it apart from any other educational model. Here are 7 defining characteristics. 1. Education as a parental duty. Jewish parents, particularly mothers, see educating their children as a sacred responsibility. They emphasize the necessity of learning, instilling in their children a relentless drive for knowledge. 2. Parents do not rely on their children. Unlike many cultures where children are expected to support aging parents, Jewish parents believe in self-reliance. This mindset shifts educational goals from short-term success to lifelong intellectual and financial independence. 3. Prioritizing intellectual over physical labor. From an early age, Jewish children are taught that success comes from using their minds rather than physical labor. The focus is on fostering structured thinking and problem-solving rather than rote memorization. 4. Encouraging questioning and debate. Jewish education thrives on constant questioning, discussion, and debate. Teachers engage students in dialogue rather than one-way instruction. This develops critical thinking and a habit of continuous learning. 5. Associating learning with pleasure. Jewish children are taught that learning is as sweet as honey. Rituals, such as tasting honey while learning the Hebrew alphabet, Create positive associations with education, making it an enjoyable lifelong pursuit. 6. Instilling a strong Jewish identity. Jewish education fosters pride in their heritage, reinforcing the idea that they belong to a chosen people. This sense of identity, combined with an awareness of their historical struggles, instills resilience, ambition, and a drive for excellence. 7. Passing down educational philosophy. Through sacred texts. The Talmud and Torah serve as the foundation for Jewish education, transmitting intellectual traditions across generations. This ensures a consistent and highly effective learning approach, emphasizing deep focus, analytical thinking, and lifelong curiosity. That's it for Part 4. I hope you found this lesson insightful and that it helps you cultivate deeper learning for yourself and your children. The power of deep focus in education is truly transformative, and applying these principles can unlock lifelong success. Stay tuned for Part 5, where we'll dive into deep focus in the workplace and explore how thoughts and focus give you the ultimate competitive advantage, companies that embrace deep focus, and practical ways to apply deep focus to your work for maximum productivity.